Good morning, everyone. Zippo Daily Fix. Glad that you have joined us this morning. We are coming to you today from the Mesta Park Studios in Uptown, Oklahoma City. We do have a project here that I began yesterday and sort of abandoned. Just a Japanese made automatic lighter insert that needs the flint dug out of it. I had a busy week last week and was not able to do the stream on Tuesday. My daughter called me on Monday and asked me if I could babysit my granddaughter all week when she was at work. And Tuesday was the one day that she didn't work, but she wanted to go out to the arts festival. So I intended to do it on Friday and then had other distractions keep me from doing that. I don't know if you guys can hear the motorcycles screaming down the street out here on Northwest 23rd Street, but that's probably not going to go away. Had a hard time making a video yesterday because all the lawn crews out. I complain about it over there in the apartment in Deep Deuce, and it is a problem because they're just blowing leaves around over there all the time. But this time of year, everybody's cutting their lawn and blowing the trimmings around and all that good stuff. Okay, good to hear then, Jeremy. Glad that the microphone is working. Had to bring my coffee with me because I am not set up over here. I hadn't really spent much time over here since, back before Christmas. So I may have to sneak away here at some point and warm my coffee up. I don't know about you guys. I try really hard not to push the nozzle down on these Zippo fuel cans, because then I end up tearing it up and bending it up and it squirts sideways when I go to use it. But if you don't take it all the way down, then it's easier to get back up. But really enjoyed carrying this all-around leaf design Zippo again. Definitely my favorite of all the ones that I have purchased myself and used. It does have some blemishes at this point, which we talked about many times. Concrete bite, the lid getting wrenched almost sideways at one point. It's still a really attractive lighter, and of course functions just fine as long as you're not trying to light something up in a stiff wind. Hello, old Henningsen. Been a while since you've joined us here. Glad to have you with us. I appreciate you interacting over on the DependableFlame.com Facebook group and page. And I see you over there hitting the like button often, and I appreciate that. David G, glad that you have joined us. Yeah, this is good morning here. I think trying to remember where everybody's at. I think Jeremy's in Ohio. I'm in Oklahoma City. I'm not sure where you and David are at, but glad that you've joined us here. Yeah, it's definitely that time of year, Jeremy, with the gardens, and you can tell we didn't have a farmer's market this past week because of they had the Oklahoma City Memorial Marathon from the bombing, and also the Arts Festival. So the farmer's market was canceled. But the previous week, you could see a little bit more stuff. The first couple weeks, it was just like radishes and maybe lettuce, and then there were some asparagus and other herbs and stuff appearing. But okay, so you must be on Eastern time then. I am on Central time here, which would be the same as Chicago and most of the middle part of the country. I can't remember anybody vocalizing that they were joining us from the West Coast, other than my buddy Shane, who I believe he joined us the last time that we were all together. So Keith there in Minnesota is on the same time as I am here in Oklahoma City. I just had new internet installed over here. Um, it's been in the last couple of weeks. So I wanted to try this out to see how the stream would work or if it would work. So far seems so good enough. Didn't have the lag that we had a couple weeks ago when I started out uh, untethered from the Wi-Fi over in the apartment in Deep Deuce. So David's in New Hampshire. That's going to be the same time as Jeremy in Ohio. Not sure where old Henningsen is located. Yeah, it's crazy. They'd been bugging me for a while, and like I said, I just hadn't spent much time over here since the winter, since early winter. And they had been bugging me to upgrade the internet. And when I did, not only is it much faster, but it's $20 a month cheaper. Which I'm not sure I understand how that works out, but I'm not going to complain about it. The previous connection was such that an 8-minute video took sometimes a whole 24 hours to upload. And right after it was installed, I'd shot a video waiting on the installation man, and I went ahead and uploaded it right after he left, and it was done in a matter of 2 or 3 minutes. Yeah, that's what I got here now. I think is a AT&T fiber optic, and it's definitely better than the previous internet that I had, which was also AT&T, which they had told me at the time would be everything I needed, everything that I could get from a competitor around here, but it was not. The upload speeds were horrible. Keith, that is a Willie Nelson concert poster there on the wall. It's actually a concert that I attended with my daughter and my mother and father and several friends, my buddy Shane, my buddy AJ. The first time I saw Bob Dylan, that was September 3rd, 2004 at the Bricktown Ballpark. And yeah, right down there on the field, the outfield, which there is no out, I don't think there's any kind of outfield bleachers there at that ballpark. So they had all the bleachers that, are down the baselines and behind home plate open. And then there was also room down on the field, and that's where we were at. It was pretty wild, pretty cool. Uh, Definitely turned some people off that I was with, who, like I said, that was the first time I'd seen Bob Dylan after being a lifelong fan. And he didn't face the crowd the whole night. He stood he was on the left side of the stage playing the piano, facing the right side of the stage, and literally I don't know if he ever even turned to face the crowd once, and that really turned some of them off. But to me, it's just sort of, you take what you get with a creative individual like Bob Dylan, and to me, I've seen him again now, sometime around 2011, 12, around in there, I think, at the Zoo Amphitheater in Oklahoma City. But, kind of one of those bucket list kind of deals. I was just happy to see him. Let me catch back up here on the chat. So, I guess then from what you're saying, Zippo Daily Fix, that my experience with it being faster and cheaper is not necessarily anything unique. Um, like I said, I don't know who provided your service, but the fiber that AT&T put in here is really good, and like I said, $20 cheaper than I was paying. Ole Henningsen, I did not realize you were from Denmark. I believe that's where my Facebook buddy Donald Hine. Donald has the website lighterfix.dk. We have orchestrated a trade or two, and had a conversation or two in Facebook Messenger that were interesting. Donald is a really cool guy. Oh, now Keith, that would have been really cool to see the Highwaymen, um, Willie Nelson, Johnny Cash, Chris Christopherson, and who's the fourth one there? I'm forgetting. Merle Haggard wasn't in the Highwaymen. Now I'm drawing a blank. Yeah, there you go, Waylon Jennings. Oh man, my buddy Shane would be roasting me right now. Waylon's his favorite. Yeah, Waylon, Johnny Cash, Chris Christopherson, and Willie Nelson. That was some great music, especially the first album. Really good stuff. Yeah, Merle was in my head there for a minute too, Jeremy. And all those guys are sort of linked together. They all made albums together at some point or another. Merle and Willie made an album together, I believe, here in just the last 5 years or so. Oh, Henningsen, you're saying you've bought lighters from Donald? I think he specializes in butane lighters. I've seen him post several pictures, just oodles and oodles of fill valves and burner valves that he's rebuilt, um, which that's something. It's a little bit of a challenge because of the different mail systems. Uh, it's a little bit more expensive getting stuff back and forth. So the last time I spoke with him about any substance at all was a Cygnus lighter that he was wanting to know if I was interested in, which I was and am. I'm not sure if he's still holding it because it's been so long since we've talked. But I've got a lighter or two, a sterling silver case for a Ronson that I thought he might be interested in, and a couple others that I need to get a hold of him, see if he wants to work another trade, if he's still holding that Cygnus. But Donald's a good dude. And not only that, but he can communicate with you. If all you speak is English, he got no problem with that. But his website, too, is really cool that you can Google will translate it for you. It's in Danish or whatever the language is, the native language of that country. But I have read it in English. I know that. Yeah, yeah. I don't even. Is Waylon from Texas? Yeah, Waylon was from Texas. Waylon got his start with Buddy Holly and all that. So he's from West Texas, Lubbock area, I guess. I know Willie lives somewhere around Austin now, but I don't know if that's where. I think that's where he's from. So it seems like a lot of those guys are from Texas. Yeah, that's a great song, Keith. That is that song called "My Favorite Memory of All." It's going through the lyrics there in my head, reading your. I may be confusing that with another song. I was a big Merle Haggard fan when I was a kid. Big Hank Williams Jr. fan. I owned all the Hank Williams Jr.'s 8 tracks at one point. We got some kind of other activity going on outside now. Sounds like somebody's got a tamper working or something. Busting concrete, maybe. There's no telling. I don't know if you guys can hear that or not. Jeremy was here right off the bat and got to hear a motorcycle tearing down the street here. East Wad Doon Flam, hello. Glad that you have joined us today. How is the TikTok video creation going? I got over and watched several of your videos last week, but haven't been back over now in a few days. I need to get over and catch up. Apparently I have not logged into the new Wi-Fi on the my old tablet here, so give me a moment. I'm gonna try to get connected. We got new Wi-Fi over at the apartment last night too, so uh, but that was through a different company. That was through that's interesting. So I connect. It's telling me that I don't have. Maybe that was just a bad signal. It was telling me I didn't have a Wi-Fi connection here on this other iPad there for a second. So I think we're good now. Hey, yeah, old Henningsen. Back when I still consumed carbs and sugar, yeah, I would have loved a Danish. Um, yeah. So yeah, some of those European countries get a little bit confusing to me. Denmark speaks Danish. Well, Eastwa, that's sort of how my YouTube video creation has been going of late. Slow. I've been spending so much time on the website and have determined I think I'm actually going to go to publishing articles or stories over there 3 days a week. Which, if you guys haven't been over there and checked it out, I think there's 6 or 7 installments now of a fictional um, short story series that I've been writing. Or, well, it'll end up being a long story, but they're somewhere in the neighborhood of 1,000 to 1,300 word installments, which involves some characters that, of course, use vintage petrol lighters, ashtrays, tobacconana, and other useful mechanisms. So, if you enjoy reading fiction and might maybe never thought about there being a genre of cigarette lighter fiction, well, maybe go check it out. But I also have some plans for some other more typical kind of review articles. And I just had our good friend Robert Hollingsworth this past week mailed me or had all these Zippos shipped to me. So we're going to put those in the Penny Start 100% to HDSA, Huntington's Disease Society of America, charity auctions that we do on eBay. So I don't know, maybe I'll even get around to getting one of those listed today. Yeah, I've got a few videos here I need to make, but it's been a little bit slow going around here as well. Good morning, Zippo Lions Den. Glad that you have joined us. Yeah, I've seen you over in the ZF77 outdoor streams before, and can't remember. I see you over on the Discord all the time, and of course, I first became familiar with Zippo Lions Den over in the Facebook Lighter group, so I know that he would give a testament to the Zippo Addicts group, the let me organize things here a little better. The Zippo Addicts group, Lighters of the World. There's one that's got Bradford, Pennsylvania in the title. What else? OTLS group. Vintage Cigarette Lighter Collectors Club. Various different groups over on Facebook. There's a lot of fun and camaraderie, sharing of lighters and that kind of stuff. So, cool. I look forward to any of them. Like I said, I kind of been here lately. I've been catching up on your TikToks, Iswa, several at a time. And I was explaining earlier while I was gone last week, babysitting my granddaughter again. And then the one day that my daughter wasn't working, she wanted to go out to the arts festival. So last week kind of got away from me. But um, yeah, I'm definitely not publishing video every day of the week anymore. But I do try to get up 2 or 3 a week. Naphtha, glad that you have joined us. It's been a while, my friend. Seems like maybe you ducked in for a minute or two a couple of weeks ago, but hadn't really had any substantial conversation with you in a while. Glad that you have joined us. How are things in Tulsa? All right, Keith, glad that you were able to join us. Sorry that for the delay if I've missed you here, but I hope you have a good rest of your day. If you get a chance, you might check back in on us here in a little bit. I know you're busy with your family and your grandkids as well, so definitely see you next time. Professor's Garage, glad that you have joined us. The professor has been one of our more regular participants in the live stream recently, joining us from Montana, so I appreciate that. What kind of small engine work are you doing, Naphtha? Lawnmowers? This would definitely be the time of year to be um, repairing lawnmowers. Yeah, definitely should. I've noticed, well, maybe it's been a couple weeks ago that John, J-Row Lights, did one. And I think that was one of the days that I was over with my granddaughter, so I wasn't able to. Um, but definitely on those Friday and Saturday night ones that ZF77 does, I try to jump in when I can, and I would be open to somebody running one just all the time. It's just kind of, I don't know, just kind of fun together and have a conversation with your friends for a little bit. Yeah, NAFTA. It's you would have liked my dad, man. The stuff that I do here with the lighters, I've talked about it a lot of times. How it reminds me of the work that we used to do with cars. But I was not a mechanic like my dad was. I learned a lot of stuff from my dad, but my dad knew these things intuitively. He could take things apart and put them back together, and that's what I do with lighters on a more simple basis. But my old man he was great with engines, and that was something that if he'd have been able to make a living at it or had the wherewithal to open a small engine shop, that's exactly what he wanted to do. He told me that many times when I was younger, and we would be out, doing the work on the first car that I had was actually the first car was a 1965 Ford Galaxy that he bought, and he thought I would like just as much as he did. But my taste in automobiles at that time was not quite so mature. I wanted a hot rod, and I wanted a Mustang. Specifically at that time, I really wanted a 65 or 66 fastback because he had had one when I was younger, and I always loved that car. But we ended up finding a 1970 fastback, and man, I mean, it couldn't have been better um, for me and for the kind of car I wanted to build. That was really uh, a mean looking car. When you talk about muscle cars, the 69 and 70 fastback Mustangs, especially the 70 to me, with the single headlight with the I'm not sure what you would call it, louvered ports on the side where the 69 had the double headlights. That 70 just was a bad looking automobile, and we bought that 70 car. It didn't have an engine or transmission in it. It was just the body. We paid $600 for it, and then we bought a 69 Ranchero GT that had 351 Cleveland engine in it, and we put that into that Mustang. But like I said, I know a little bit, and I can work on cars, but it's I wasn't a natural at it like my old man was. I get frustrated with something a little bit more. That's one of the reasons I don't work on butane lighters. He probably could have done that just fine if he'd have put his mind to it. What time are you thinking about doing it, Professor? How about you, Terry? Have you done live streams? Yeah, I misplaced my Zippo here somewhere. So we have heard from a lot of our regulars so far today, but we haven't heard from Azriel yet or Sean. Yeah, Zippo lines, then definitely you should, man. Like I said, if anything, all it's going to do, I mean, unless people are getting on there acting stupid, if you're just talking about lighters, then all it does is just give an outlet to promulgate the hobby, promote the hobby. Um, yeah, I think the more the merrier, especially if we can kind of, um, Zippo Fanatic 77. I know he likes to do his 8, 9 o'clock on the weekends typically, maybe a little later sometimes. But he'll have some. He's had some that were just marathons, seemed like 4 or 5 hours. Um, there it is. But J-Ro, the one that he did a week or two ago, it seems, and I think he's done others before too, but I think he's done his maybe a little bit earlier in the evening, maybe around 7 or 8 o'clock. I doubt if I will ever do one in the evening. It's just typically that's when I'm going to be involved with other um, ventures. And, that's why I can duck into ZF-77s from time to time because by that point, my old lady's asleep and I'm just sitting there with the TV on, not really paying attention. Well, then I can check in and see what's going on. Where, um, you know, during the prime time of the evening, 6, 7, 8 o'clock, then, we're usually having dinner or seeing the in-laws or the grandkids or something. Yeah, I've changed transmissions out. I've changed motors out. I've done, rebuilt carburetors. It's been a long time ago. Um, but it's I'm just saying with the cigarette lighter, I can tell you exactly what's the reason for, and you got very few parts, so it's pretty easy to do that. But with an engine, I'm just kind of I've had it explained to me by my dad on a rudimentary basis, but I don't know that if you forced me to, that I could give you a reason for every part in that engine. Yeah, see, that'd be good. Nobody else is doing one that time, Professor, so why not? You know, there are there are people that have been regulars in this live stream that I'm not sure how they discovered it. Maybe just because they happen to be on YouTube at that time every week. Um, but I just assume that everybody who comes to these streams has been to Zippo Fanatic 77 streams. I know Terry has. I know Zippo Daily Fix has. I know Azriel and several of the others. But then there are others that I've mentioned ZF77 stream, and they're like, no, your stream's the only one I've ever gone to. So, yeah, there you get a little bit of overlap or a lot of overlap, but then you'll also get some of, some people that are, for whatever reason, um, maybe they like you better. Maybe that time is better for them, but whatever, there'll be a little bit of element of your own crowd as well. And there's all kinds of things you can do. You can get on and just answer questions, talk about lighters. You can have a project. I know ZF77 has done that in the past with some of his custom stuff. He'd be doing it right there on the live stream. Noon Mountain Time. So noon Mountain Time, I believe, would be 1 o'clock my time. Yeah, you just never know. You never know. All kinds of benefits from it, especially if you're trying to grow your channel. Then I don't think it can hurt. And you know, just puts more lighter content. For whatever reason, I'm not sure. Last time I checked, ZF77 wasn't deleting his, but J-Ro was deleting his. So I'm not sure the reason why people delete them. But I'm all ears if somebody wants to explain that to me. Yeah, ZF77. He's got he'll have a lot, but he'll pretty regular. Now, when I first started watching him, it'd be about like this, 10 or 15 people at the most. But the last few times I've been in there, there's pretty big crowds. Not only that, but his will have a pretty big turnover. The last couple of times I was in there, I didn't know a lot of the names. Um, you'll see Dylan DePie over there. Used to be Dead Stick Dave was there all the time. Um, Zippo Daily Fix, like I said, Azriel. Um, anyway, so there's definitely some familiarity, but a pretty big crowd over there in his live stream. So yeah, I've talked about it several times in videos, but ZF77, his name is Mike, and he reached out to me. Oh, it was right about the time that I moved in over here at Mesta Park, which gave me the space to kind of make as much videos as I wanted, and leave everything set up. So that's when I started publishing video every weekday morning, and it was still. I mean, I maybe had at this time around 100 subscribers, and he gave me some advice, really some encouragement, because it was just a couple things that I really had the mindset that making shorter videos was better because um, just not wasting people's time. I was trying to be concise and thorough and, pack a bunch into a small space. And anyway, he kind of explained to me why that might not be the best way to do it. And so basically, that was pretty much all I did was started making the videos a little bit longer and not worrying about, keeping them so short. Minute to 2 minutes is what I was doing before that. And from that point, um, yeah. But I won't lie, his encouragement meant a lot too because I didn't have any idea what I was doing. Hadn't even really ever considered whether the channel would be monetized or anything like that. It was just a tool for me to embed into my eBay listings, which, by the way, I'm not sure if I'll be able to do that anymore. I haven't created a listing in, I don't know, probably a month or more. But I used a tool called Flipper Tools. Let me just pull this up on this other iPad if I can. Anyway, this was really cool. Um, Basically, the guy who created this Flipper Tools website, which had a little so had a little tool that you could okay, so there's still some, maybe you could still do it this way, but anyway, basically where you go in and plug in the YouTube video and then it puts it in a code that then I can go copy and paste into my eBay listing to where then people can just click on that from the eBay listing. Not sure if I'll be able to use this one or not, but anyway, thought this was really cool that he's not going to be has decided he's not going to keep up with the site anymore, but basically says it's been real, enjoyed it and all this, but he's leaving you here with the greatest gift he could leave you, which is his testimony of how he came to faith in Jesus Christ. Anyway, if you get a chance to get over here and read this whole thing, you might do that. And it brought me to tears reading it. Very, very similar to my own experience reading his testimony there. Anyway, that's flippertools.com. You might want to use it if you are interested in embedding those videos into your eBay listings. But like I said, he's not going to be fixing the site anymore. So if that does still work when it breaks, I don't think he'll be fixing it anymore. I think that was the point of the whole thing. Anyway, really cool way for him to say goodbye, I thought. Oh yeah. So he gives you a heads up, lets you know he's coming on. Yeah. There was a couple weeks ago where I was. It turned out great. It was actually the week that ZF77 came on, but man, I was talking to myself for a long time, or at least from what I could see. I don't think it's always accurate when it's telling me how many people are in the stream. I know it's not always accurate, so whether or not it was that week or not, but I wasn't getting any comments, and so yeah, it could definitely be beneficial to know that you're going to have somebody at least there to talk to when you come on. But that's one reason why I like to try to have a project available to me to work on if I want to. And also, I'll fuel up my lighters every week. That's pretty much, I don't know. Sometimes they don't stay fueled that long, but there have been plenty of times here lately to where from 1 week to the next, I did not have to fuel at least all the Zippos that I'd fueled up here on the live stream. So I've just kind of made that a part of the weekly routine as well. Yeah, very cool, Terry. Um, yeah, I was around that same time that I got the advice from ZF77. I had a lot of interaction with T-Man too. I talked a little bit about that a few weeks ago. About I think it was actually a 1959 or 1960 Zippo. I think I had misread the date stamp to be like a maybe 58. I can't remember in the video. But when I sold it, but anyway, yeah, I appreciate. I used to watch T-Man's videos, him smoking cigarettes all the time. Very entertaining, and I was definitely a fan. And yeah, he was a friendly guy, and I'm sorry he's not with us anymore. So were they able to take care of you still, Professor? Was that not a problem? I noticed. I can't remember when it when it actually started, but there was a good while around here that Walmart wasn't doing that kind of stuff. But I noticed the last time I pulled by the automotive bay over there that they were back up in business, and pandemic really shut all that kind of stuff down there for a while, getting oil changes done. Oh, for next week. Okay. Well, it happens sometimes. I've had times where there was something I knew for a fact that morning I had to do, but by the time, you can get distracted, but obviously it works in the other way too. Get a little ahead of yourself rather than behind. Okay, I'm gonna have to go back up the chat here. Gotcha. Yeah. Well, like I said, I can't remember what I was doing that day, but I had something to keep on screen to kind of occupy any anybody who might wander in. But I knew eventually somebody would show up. And if not, I can always cut it and just let it go. I had to do that the one week when the microphone went out. I'm confused what you're saying about Ohio and Cincinnati, Jeremy. Did I miss something back up the stream? Anyway, if that's important, straighten me out there. I don't know, Terry. The last time, the last several times that I've been to Walmart, I've looked for fuel, and they haven't had these big cans. Um, I don't remember seeing a big can in a long time, if at all. But those little 4 ounce cans, they they've typically had them back in like the what do you call it? Like the outdoors section. And depending on the Walmart, they might have some lighters back there and then some fire starter kits and stuff like that. But I haven't seen any of that recently. Now, the Walmart that I go to the most over here in Belle Isle of Oklahoma City is it does have a few displays of lighters up around the checkout stands of Zippo lighters. So I don't know whether they're um, phasing them out of there completely or not. I wouldn't think so. I would think maybe it's crazy around here how it's like every Walmart has them in one fashion or another. It's just or some Zippo product and probably some lighters. But then like I went into one out west Oklahoma City somewhere a couple year or two ago, and they had tons of displays of Zippos all over the counter. I mean, just like literally hundreds of lighters that I could see just from the checkout line. Um, most places, it seems like if they've got one, that's going to be, and it might be up around the counters. It might be, they might be back around the outdoor, like camping supplies and stuff like that. But I definitely hadn't seen any Zippo stuff clearance at the WalMarts around here. Okay, so you're out of the market, Professor, um, in buying lighters. You've got enough. I'm always in the market, but I buy salvage. I basically buy junk. I buy something that somebody else thinks is trash. I buy a single lighter here or there off of eBay when I get a really good deal and turn it for a profit. And then I'll buy groups the same way. But the cash flow has been less here lately, and so I haven't had as much lighter content to make either. But I've still got plenty of repairs that I can make on different mechanisms and stuff like that. It is a lot more fun when it's just like lighters laying everywhere. Some new interesting mechanism or advertisement or brand that I haven't had before or whatever. So yeah, when I have seen the 4 ounce bottles of fluid at Walmart around here, it's been for $2 a can. I don't know what they've been going for on Amazon lately because that's typically where I would buy it. But I've been getting these bigger bottles of Ronsonol at Winco for cheaper than what I could get the Zippo fuel for online on either eBay or um, Amazon. You do have to watch it on this one though, on this brand, because they've got two bigger bottles. As a matter of fact, I don't know if they make a 4 ounce bottle, but there's like an 8 ounce bottle and a 12 ounce bottle. So anyway, either way around it, I think it's probably cheaper than the Zippo fuel, and I don't see a difference. I know that ZF77 has talked about that. He believes that there is a difference. I used to think there was, but I haven't I haven't perceived one recently, and I've used them interchangeably. I've got bottles of both over at the other place and bottles of both here. Yeah, $1.25 is that's a pretty good deal for it. That would yeah, that would probably put it cheaper than that's what's it seems like you can the 12 ounce bottles from what I've seen, I don't think you're going to find those much of anywhere for less than 8. So that it's more expensive for the 8 ounce bottle or for the 12 ounce bottle per ounce than the smaller ones. Or is my math bad? Yeah, David, I think they were. Are you talking about the size of the can I got here, or the size they were talking about for $1.25? These are 12 ounce cans here. I think I got a small can here too. 4 ounce can. That permanent match, it can't hold much, can it? Does that permanent match have a kind of have some absorbent material inside of it? Those plastic ones that I had that I made the videos on, I think they had a little bit of cotton or rayon down in the bottom. Hello, Jennifer. Glad that you have joined us. The Super 11 naphtha, is that a convenience store, like a smoke shop type convenience store? Sell a bunch of vapes and plastic ashtrays and butane lighters and wraps and things like that. I'm not familiar with the Super 11. Or is that maybe 7-Eleven? What are those two Zippos that you would still want or still be in the market for, Professor? You mind telling us what those two are that you're on the fence about? When you say birthday lighters, you talking about a Zippo dated to your month and year of your birth? Wow, that's pretty impressive, Terry. So 48, but you've got some before that too, right? I think I saw you post them with a black crackle the other day. But you're saying you've got continuously from 48 to 79. So that'd be what, 32 years? And I would think you probably have a lot of newer ones too. You just got some gaps that you need to fill in there, old and since 79. That's a cool idea though for building a collection. Sort of like collecting coins and needing a coin from each mint or whatever. Um, yeah, yeah, that's an interesting way to build a collection for sure. Yeah, my can, David, was the 12 ounce, so you see it there in relation. But these typically at the Walmart that I shop at have been, I don't know, $1.99, $2, right at $2, you know, with tax, whatever. Um, so if you could get three of these, would be the same size as one of these. So if you're paying more than $6, and it definitely doesn't pay to buy that big. And the last can that I can remember buying locally, the last big can of the actual Zippo fuel, I bought at a smoke shop, and I know I paid $8.50 for it. So definitely be better to buy the small cans from Walmart in that case. But I think sometime in the last, well, maybe 6 months, I may have bought a couple of these cans off of Amazon. Wait 24 hours before using it, eh? I know it makes some people nervous. I can't remember who it was, Gavin Lannon maybe, that commented on that one of the permanent match videos that I made. It didn't seem right to him that you're snuffing it by putting it in the fuel. But the fuel's not that volatile. It's not like it's going to explode. Just cut off the air real quick and we'll be all right. Okay. Yeah, they're definitely making a little bit of money off of it. Man, that would be a what, $15 12-ounce can. That'd definitely be expensive. Definitely worth using the Ronson for that price. Okay. When I saw that Keith's, I thought you were talking about our buddy Keith Ferrier, who was here in the chat earlier. Okay, so the convenience store used to be called Keith's. Now it's called Super 11. Yeah, yeah, I think I know what you're talking about with the pipe. And yeah, I'm not sure about the Space Force. Is that like the equivalent of like the Navy, Army? It's kind of like the Space Force insignia. Space Force is, I don't know, it's an interesting idea. We didn't used to have an Air Force, so um, yeah. What kind of customs you talking about there, Professor? Excuse me. What kind of custom? Something you're going to do personally, or something that you're going to have done? Cool, cool. So Terry says that he has a 1946 and a World War II 3 barrel. Only need one from the 90s and five from the 80s. Have most of the 2000s as well. Yeah, man. Then, so are you legitimately going to try to have one from every year? Was 33 the first year? I know that it says it started in 32, but I think the first lighter came out in 33. And was that the 4 ounce can that you bought, David? So it's got a clear petrol tank, huh? So no wadding. It's kind of like a what do you call it? Scripto. So I assume there's an O-ring on the seals off real tight. Shouldn't evaporate. Yeah, yeah. I see people do that, and I used to do it, blowing it out. Um, our friend Giovanni Abazia, who I'm not sure what happened to Giovanni. We haven't heard from him in a long time. But our friend Giovanni Abazia pointed out to me that you damage the wick when you blow it out. You basically create ember out of your wick when you do that. So I don't know. It seems to me like the tips on those permanent matches, you're probably going to end up having to replace those. It's just sort of a frayed wick anyway, just a little tiny short frayed wick. So it probably not going to, if you, especially if you use one on a very regular basis. So, but Professor, are you engraving them yourself, or are you having it done? Well, just because your wife doesn't uh, have any interest at all in Zippos doesn't mean that you wouldn't be interested in a Zippo that had something to do with your wife. So I get it. So how much did you pay for the bigger can at Walmart, David? That's what I'm curious about. Yeah, Terry, though, but once you've got all those others, unless you're just more interested in, finding cool other, I don't know about you, but for me personally, I mean, I'm not a, I'm not just a pure Zippo collector per se. It's gonna have to have something relevant to me. Um, but it's really cool to find um, anything pre-date code. It's still pretty cool. Um, but anything nice, really, anything that I can make a profit off of is cool too. So, um, you know, but I like finding anything with cool graphics. But that's like I said, that's not me collecting. So, once you get at one um, for every year other than those early years, do you still have themes that you collect pretty strongly? Because at that point, it might be worth it that you might not be buy as many lighters, but trying to fill in those early gaps. It might be the greater quest. Okay, now you're confusing me, David. 4 ounce or 12 ounce? Because the 12 ounce, that's a pretty good deal. Okay, so you're going to do that yourself. Okay, man. Well, I look forward to seeing that. That's something I've been interested in too. Is doing something with my logo. Um, so yeah. Are you gonna you're gonna be making videos of your process of doing that? Okay, well that's kind of expensive for two 4 ounce cans. Yeah, so there must be some kind of variance in the prices. Like I said, I don't know that I've ever seen the 4 ounce cans here for anything other than $2. But you might check out that Ronsonol because the Ronsonol is, I bet you can find that at some of your grocery stores or Walgreen or other pharmacy um, or department stores, whatever. Definitely try that. I would try that Ronsonol rather than pay that kind of price. 12 ounce can of Ronsonol 880. Man, those prices seem awful high, David. The Ronsonol is considerably cheaper around here. Are any of you guys going to the Lighter Palooza event this summer? I believe it's in June or July. Have you been to that before, Terry? And yeah, David, New Hampshire. That's not too far from Pennsylvania, is it? I think that's where that Lighter Palooza event is at, is right there in Bradford. So you're okay. You said I forgot that. There's another guy that collects Wisconsin too, right? It's one of the Thomas J. Heald, maybe one of the other guys on the in the Facebook lighter groups. And you say hometown Zippos. What is the hometown? I assume that's in Wisconsin. Oh, okay. Two. I'm getting confused with an old one there, David. Sorry. Nothing wrong with that. You definitely don't want to make your wife mad, Professor. Yeah, you would think though Walmart would be Around here, typically, if you can get it at Walmart, then it's probably cheaper than anywhere else. I don't know. That's not necessarily true. All the grocery stores, for whatever reasons, Winco, Walmart, um, Homeland, seems like there's something that they all have that's cheaper than the other one. But you definitely don't want to shop regularly at Homeland. You'll go broke doing that. So now remind me where you're at, Terry. Are you somewhere in the south? That'd be a little bit of a drive for you up to Bradford. Or you still live in Minnesota or Wisconsin? I'm sorry, Wisconsin. Yeah, that I would definitely like to go up. I'd like to get together with any group of lighter collectors like that. That would be very fun to see that many lighters in one place and have the opportunity to trade. But no, as of yet, I haven't been able to do that either. Yeah, and it seems like those all those really big time Zippo collectors have connections within that Bradford community, so that when word gets out that an ex-employee is wanting to sell something or whatever, there's some of those people that have already made contact with them, I'm sure, years in advance. That background that you see is the same background I started with back in the summer of 2018. It was definitely shot from a different angle. There's been some things added. Things have been covered up over time. Seemed a lot cooler when I started there to have a kind of a clubhouse feel rather than just some blank background. And I still like it. Some interesting. Glad earlier Keith was asking about the Willie Nelson concert poster. Got some Reefer Madness propaganda up there and some postcards and stickers and historical photos. I don't know. Things that caught my attention and I thought would look cool on there. Well, if any of you, excuse me, if any of you guys checked out Eastwa's videos lately, he said it had been going slow, but I know the last time I checked, I still had several of his videos to catch up on. So, I guess it's still up in the air whether or not the government's going to ban TikTok. So I mentioned earlier that I did have that project that I would be working on at some point. Really would prefer to actually make a repair video for it, so we'll see. I'm probably not going to do that right now here on the live stream. But you'll see that lighter here soon. It's just a typical Ronson type automatic mechanism. But even with the flint spring out of it, there is tension there. So likely the degraded flint has concreted in there. So I'll take that apart, make the repair video and all that. Maybe here as soon as we get done. And then have that video to show and tell as well. And I also thought these were really cool all-in-one kits that sorry, I misspoke, that Robert sent, a friend Robert Hollingsworth, Robert's the one that sent all these flints, which have kept me supplied in flint for, I don't know, at least the last year. But these come with a 4-ounce fuel can and a Zippos flint dispenser. And then there's a street chrome Zippo. And I don't think that's a box, but it does look like it's got the sort of velvet portion of the inside part of the box that you could display it in if you chose. So I don't know, maybe we'll start off and do one of those. Or maybe I include one of these with a vintage lighter and maybe another Zippo or something like that. Maybe, I don't know, we'll see. Maybe I start with just one of these kits and then depending on how that goes. But these will be in the penny start, 100% to the HDSA, Huntington's Disease Society of America charity. And that is the disease that killed my father, that so profoundly affected my family from, I don't know, about 2010, well, actually a few years before that, because, you know, there were some things that he had some declines that didn't really make any sense, and my mom was taking him to doctors looking for answers and getting the wrong answers for a good portion of time there before he was actually diagnosed. So maybe, I don't know, maybe 2008, 2009, until he passed in 2017. And it's a genetic disease that, because he had it, then I had a 50% chance of having it, and if I had it, then it would be the same for each of my kids. But my dad just had 2 kids, my brother and I, and We were both tested. My brother shortly before my dad passed, and me right after. And neither one of us have that um, um, CAG repeat number that's necessary to indicate that you're going to have um, that disease. So thank God. I'm very thankful for that. But it's also a cause and something that's been very important to me. And even though I am no longer personally affected by it, I couldn't see myself just walking away and saying good luck. So everything that we sell here, every eBay listing, um, a portion of that, 10% goes to HDSA. And also, um, we run the special penny start, which I haven't done one of those in a few months now. Back around Christmas, I think, was the last time that we did it. So anyway, I'll try to get back a little more regular basis. We got a month's worth of them right here at 10 days a piece. So anyway, try to get those charity auctions going back again. But that's a good way to get some lighters. Usually, um, lighters that I've repaired, older lighters that we put back into service. But in this case, when Robert has been so kind to donate these, then we will promote them and sell them for that purpose. And also, I've still got a lot of that stuff that Gavin Lannon sent. That's why he sent it, was to put in those charity auctions. So um, try to get that going back. Keep those going, even if I'm not able to be posting videos of new lighters that I'm buying because of the generosity of others here. Then this would be a good way to keep those penny start charity auctions going. Can y'all hear the siren coming from behind my house? Yeah, I keep forgetting about that, Professor. I need to get over there and check out his Instagram. I think I followed him. I never used Instagram to the degree that it's just it's something that I check every day, or maybe even remember how to log into. Yeah, I know federal government's banned it on government devices, and a lot of states have done the same thing. But yeah, I don't know whether they're actually going to be able to shut it down. I literally don't use it for anything other than watching Eastwa Doom Flom's videos. So hopefully they don't take that away from me. Yeah, I'm trying to remember. I might have done the same thing, Professor. I don't have the lighter here with me right now, but and it was a brushed chrome. But my first Zippo may have come in a kit exactly like this. I know I had um, some Zippo flints, but I could have just bought those on their own. And I don't remember whether for positive that I had a uh, a small fuel can at the beginning. But I know I didn't know anything about it. Um, so for some reason, I think I did the same thing. I think I bought one of these kits that had that brushed chrome. That one is marked 2023. I can see through there. So is that one. It looks like that one's marked 2022. So, again, Robert, if you were watching, thank you. I really appreciate it. And we will use these along with some of the ashtrays and other Zippos that Gavin um, donated. to revive those penny start auctions. That's one thing that I do appreciate. I can't afford to do it, but I've told you all before about the seller Lightersaurus on eBay, who it's a little bit more expensive now. Most of them he starts at like $7.99, and then it'll be $4, like so a minimum. Occasionally, then he'll start some others at $4.99. But back when I first started buying stuff from that guy, he would combine shipping, and he'll still do that. But he started the auctions at like 99 cents back then, so you could really get some steals at times. Um, but our friend Bill Calkins, who's joined us several times, and I've got I can't remember, one or two lighters that I bought from him, and another lighter recently that he gave me, that he sent as a gift. The Bear Emblem Cygnus Gold Tone Table Lighter. Anyway, he runs auctions and he'll combine shipping as well. But the auctions start, I don't know, he seems like maybe he does start his at 99 cents and $4 or $5 shipping, and he'll combine. But that's a really good way for new collectors to get involved. So, I'm not saying it's for everybody. It definitely wasn't for me. I sold a few things like that, and I sold a lot like that at first, and you know, ended up kind of giving a few things away that I realized there wasn't any reason to take that chance. So, but like I said, if you don't necessarily need to make a living off the lighters you're selling, or feed yourself with it, then I commend you, and I enjoy those kind of auction listings. And like I said, I know it's good for the hobby to have those kind of a way to buy lighters. It's a little bit less expensive. It's hard to find them for the cheap prices that you used to even just a few years ago. Um, so anyway, always helps when you know of a seller or two that don't charge a lot for shipping. They'll combine shipping, and their auctions start low. Are you talking about around you, Naphtha, or every time we get together here? 'Cause there's definitely noise going on down there in Deep Deuce. The leaf blowers and all that, and probably sirens too. But right now I'm sitting here in Mesta Park, just a block off 23rd Street, and yeah, there's definitely a little bit more um, element of intimacy here. It can sound like the sirens are right at my back door. They're not far from it. Well, I was thinking on the way over here about the latest Chris Rock stand up, because he's talking about good neighborhoods and bad neighborhoods, and he said the good neighborhoods, the ones you want to live in, are the ones where the women are out there in their yoga pants, pushing strollers and hanging out at the park. And like I said, I'm right here off 23rd Street, but that is this kind of neighborhood. I mean, it's a really nice neighborhood. Of course, the opposite of that, which indicated the bad neighborhood, was the neighborhood where the men were out in their sweatpants in the middle of the day. So, pretty funny if you've seen it. Or I should say, if you haven't seen it. You live in a good, bad part of Tulsa? Have I mentioned before that that's where I was born? What kind of small town you talking about there, Professor? Like old country town, like the small towns we have in Oklahoma, or were you just talking about? Are you an urban dweller? I'm definitely an urban dweller these days. I haven't lived the majority of my life in the city like this, but between the apartment and the place here in Mesta Park, I go back over to Midwest City um, on a regular basis because most of our family's still over there. I've got family in Moore, so I'll go down there occasionally. Other than that, I don't really go, I kind of stick around here other than if I get out, I got a whole day to go out and look at antique places and vintage malls, that kind of thing, then that could take me to any corner of the city. But it's kind of cool living downtown like this and, having, well, I mean, we don't have a grocery store like in walking distance, like there's any place you want to eat within walking distance. Um, Up here in Mesta Park and down there in Deep Deuce. But well, and there's a grocery store over here in Mesta Park at least. But yeah, so sometimes there's a trade-off, but it's I don't know. It's not a bad way to live. Okay, yeah, that sounds yeah. I've been in those kind of towns. Did a little bit of um knocking on doors this past spring and some well 2 springs ago now. I guess we're in the spring. So last spring and last summer um, for a state senator. And so, yeah, I know I got a very vivid image in my head when you said 2,000 people less than a mile across. Take it easy, David. Hope you'll hop on and join us next week. Appreciate you being here today, my friend. Yeah, it's been so, I haven't spent any time. I was born in Tulsa. Um, we visited family in Tulsa often when I was very young. And then family that was in Claremore, so that would, get us in proximity to Tulsa here and there. Went there a few times in high school to watch my high school's basketball team, like playing a big tournament or the state tournament. And then a time or two as a young adult to visit a friend. Um, I'm pretty ignorant of Tulsa. I traveled up to Claremore. Oh, I guess it's been 2 years ago now. It was 2 Aprils ago. Um, it was my 50th birthday, and I share a birthday with my aunt, who I believe she was turning 82 that year. Anyway, so I did have Tulsa within view before I veered off the what do you call it, supplementary type highway that skirted it rather than going through downtown to get to Claremore. I took the little outlet highway there. But I assume most, you know, cities, not just small towns of any size, are pretty similar. They've definitely got, you know, the area near the bus station is probably not real nice. And but there's so much crammed into such a tight space that um, you know we see a lot of homelessness around here. See a lot of people with tents on the side of the road or pushing shopping carts. And that's right there in proximity to $1 million condos and you know doctors' residences, and I don't know, a little bit different from the way I've lived most of my life out in the country or the suburbs. Yeah, unfortunately, there's a lot of homeless everywhere, I think, and yeah, definitely some places. Um, maybe they've. I don't know. I'm not. I don't have a political stance or anything, but I know my friend who lives up in Seattle hasn't been too happy with the way that they handled it. So definitely, government policies can make it harder or more difficult. Um, and it's hard because you can't help an addict. You can't just house and feed, and um, it's such a lifestyle that you really have to. It's not like you have to shun them, but you can't give them anything more than a meal that they're going to eat right now in front of you, because otherwise they're going to turn it into money or trade it or and do whatever they got to do to get their drugs. Um, so, but I know that they know the exact number. Well, probably not exact, but they got a pretty good idea. I've seen it on the news. They do a census, like a yearly census of the number of homeless people in Oklahoma City. So they got a pretty good handle on it. And there are some of those people that could be helped. Um, so I don't know, but there's a good number of them that, like I said, nobody's going to be able to help them until they help themselves first and decide that they're not going to do meth or not going to drink alcohol or not going to do whatever you do with fentanyl or. Yeah, I think Portland's one of those that took a lot of criticism during the um pandemic for the way that a certain element was allowed to take over. But again, I don't know. I don't have, I got my hands full getting flint, dried up, concreted, degraded flint out of old lighters. Uh, to be trying to take a stance on such a hot button political issue. I'm very sorry to hear that, Jennifer. And unfortunately, it's not to that degree, but I lived for at least a couple of years. I don't know exactly how long. It's hard to imagine now, but with my son, um, not knowing where he was, whether he was alive, we tried to have a intervention for him, which for one reason or another, didn't exactly work out, and he just got to the point that you know he wasn't involved with his family, and like I said, there were I would guess about a 2 year period of time. It might have been a year and a half. It might have been 3 years, but I would guess it was a couple. We didn't know where he was. Occasionally, might hear something, and praise God, we did get him back. So I'm very sorry to hear that about your daughter. It's terrible. The you know the things that are out there that we can get addicted to, and I don't know. Yeah, I've got a friend that constantly reminds me that it's one of those things that I'll never be able to let my guard down about. And my son is doing great now. Um, you know, period of time there where you couldn't give him a birthday gift because you couldn't give him anything of value. Um, but slowly it came back, and you begin to trust him again. But man, it's it's a difficult thing, and I pray for him every day, um, and I hope you know hopefully he's got the support and doesn't fall back into it. But there's so many that do. I always think of Daryl Porter, who was one of my childhood heroes, baseball player, and he was a a relative to one of my mother's aunts. Wasn't directly related to me. It was on the other side of her family, but as a young kid was given a autographed baseball of his. So I was a really big fan, but he was a several time All-Star catcher for the St. Louis Cardinals, Kansas City Royals, won the World Series, maybe with both teams, I can't remember. Played for the Texas Rangers, caught one of Nolan Ryan's no hitters. I was really played at Southeast High School here in Oklahoma City, um, but had had a drug issue at once or twice during his playing career that he appeared to have gotten over. But then I don't know. I believe sometime in his 40s or early 50s. I think it was late 40s maybe. And this guy played in the majors for I don't know. I would guess 15 years or so, maybe even more. Um, but he ended up dying of a drug overdose alone in a park. So yeah, it's a real thing, and it's horrible. But yes, I am thankful. I am thankful and give thanks to God for my son every day. Yeah, I don't personally, when I was younger, I never done any kind of hard drugs at all. Um, different. I don't know what you would call it, like um, sort of like maybe is it like Sudafed, like a stimulant kind of um, speed tablet kind of thing, and that would definitely give you sort of a different feeling. Um, but that's the most dangerous thing I ever did. For some reason, as a younger kid, I was brainwashed just like everybody else into thinking that weed was some dangerous substance, which it's not. Um, I think caffeine is more dangerous than weed. But anyway, it's just it's hard for me to imagine some of these drugs They talk about how easy it is to get addicted to meth, or then how easy it is to get killed on fentanyl. So yeah, man, it's just a horrible, horrible substance, and like I said, the addiction that leads to it. I wish I had an answer. Well, my coffee has gotten cold. Got both the lighters that I had here with me fueled up. It's got the lifetime guarantee badge right there on the front of that kit. That's kind of cool. Definitely would be ideal for someone who is just getting into Zippos, or really, with the fuel and the flint, maybe you're just an EDC person, want to add one into the rotation. Yeah, I'll get those listed. Looks like two of them are street chrome, and the other one is black paint. Yeah, I got a friend that has one of his kids. It was similar to that professor, and he used to tell me some interesting stories that made you, wonder about, if the child might have been affected. But man, I've been around her lately, and that kid she is smart as a whip. Um, so yeah, it's good to know that, obviously it's horrible for a kid to be exposed to that, but if there can not be some, not to be long-lasting effects, that's good to know anyway. Well, you guys let me know. If you think about it, leave a comment, go back and watch, take a look at it again. Did it make any difference the way I did this today? Do you like it better with the background, or shooting down into the surface of the bar over in the other location? How's the lighting? How's the sound? Give me any of that kind of feedback. I like the, sort of nostalgic, or, well, I don't know. I don't know if that's the right word. Relevant, or, the Reefer Madness, the concert, postcards, the cannabis stuff. It's some of it's kind of goofy. This postcard was something that somebody sent to me. Can't remember. It was a lighter that I bought, and they included that postcard. It's the Will Rogers Memorial Museum and Tomb in Claremore, Oklahoma. And then this other, I bought this at a gift shop down in Bricktown. And these people who, you know, I'm not saying that those look like my parents, but definitely the right time frame. And then it says, "Hi, happy birthday." So, anyway, some other stuff there in the background. And maybe for the purposes of the live stream, it's good that some of it was off the out of the frame of view. There was a Dispo advertisement that, although it was up there for, I don't know, that may have been before I was monetized though. I don't know how YouTube will look at that. Anyway, I kind of enjoy the background, but it's I don't know, it's just different. Both places. Yeah, we'll see how it all works out. Well, appreciate you guys stopping by. And for those we missed, Sean, Azriel, Gnarly News, Dylan DePie, we will do it again next week, next Tuesday, and keep your, keep the notifications open because I don't remember who all. I know the professor said he was thinking about doing some lives. I think Terry Zippo Lions Den said he was thinking about it. So maybe we can have more opportunities to get together and visit. Until next time.